Welcome to the In-Game Boss Podcast. I am your host, Jeremy Evans, a.k.a. your in-game boss, a.k.a. your retro activist, a.k.a. we got a guest. And beside me, but still far away from me, Jaron Williams.
A.k.a. Ilavaku, a.k.a. it's really, really hot today.
It is. It is extremely hot. But remember, we are the most well-known Oklahoma podcast show, so definitely check out all our shows on the network that you can find on Apple Podcasts, Podbean. Everything's down in the description as you're reading this. Also, on top of that, we are on Facebook. We are on Twitter, so definitely check us out over there at Program In on Twitter, or you can just type in the In-Game Boss Program. We're all there. All our shows are on there. Just check them out. You'll love them, I promise. But we have a special guest in a very special episode today. But we're going to start with a segment I like to call checking our guests in. So, you always been to a hotel, right? So when you go to a hotel, they want to check your guests in, make sure what your name is, get you all set up. So, Jaron, I need you to check some stuff for me as I go down this list. So,
Sure.
So on this list of our guests, he's a gamer.
Check.
He's from Oklahoma.
Check.
He is a senior engineer for the company of Clever Games.
Check, check.
And he's bringing us a wonderful game that he wants to talk about, and we want to share to our listeners and whatnot. Blight Night.
Check. Yes, check.
Blight Night. All right. Mr. Nick Duttweiler. Right?
Duttweiler,
yeah. Oh, no. I hyped it up and I'm wrong. My bad. Nick Duttweiler. Sorry. I apologize, sir. I apologize. I had this in practice. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks. It's quite the intro.
Thank you. That's what we want to start doing. We want to hype people up, get them going, let them know the man behind the game. So before we even get into the game, I want to know a little bit about you as a gamer, because we are gamers. People want to know what kind of games you enjoy and whatnot. So why don't you give us a little history about yourself?
A little history. So, I grew up pretty old school. Like, I grew up with an Atari as a little kid, but then went on to the NES, which was amazing. Like, big fan of Zelda, Nintendo in general.
All right.
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Man, still can't beat that game to this day. Can't do it. When I get the King Hippo's over.
I lie and say I have, but yeah, I haven't.
Man.
It's a great game, though. They don't make them like that anymore, like, just hard.
You like difficult games, huh?
Yeah, I like difficult games, man. I like the challenge.
What's the last challenging game you played?
Man, I got big into, like, Dark Souls.
That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to Jaron over here. He's a hater.
You hating on Dark Souls?
Demon Souls was the last game I had patience for. I
They're
played
remaking it too, huh?
Yeah, they can have it. They can have it for the PS5. I'm never going to play it.
He's a Tenchu. He's a Tenchu. He says, no Dark Souls, more Tenchu, please.
Exactly.
I love some Dark Souls, but like, of course, Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Like, yeah, Super Nintendo Final Fantasies, Chrono Trigger. Did you ever play?
Oh yeah, Legend.
That's a good one.
Legend.
Yeah. And of course, like Resident Evils. I like Resident Evils.
Okay.
Silent Hills.
Okay.
I like scary stuff.
So, could you tell my listeners what's the last game you have played?
The last game I played, we were talking about it earlier. I got a Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay.
I just cracked into it, but like I haven't made it very far. But I plan on it. Actually, I did play God of War. I like that one a lot.
Woo! That's my game there. That's my
fun.
game.
I was impressed. I was like, I was crying and stuff. Like I thought it was really good. Like the story, like everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you say that's probably one of the most emotional games you ever played? Because I got a little emotional towards the end.
Yeah. No, I thought they did a great job. It was emotional, man. Like seeing the like child-father dynamic like grow and.
Right.
Oh man. Oh, I can't. You were talking about it earlier. Can't wait till you crack into Last of Us Part 1.
Yeah.
I got the Last of Us Part 1 and the wrapper like right on top of my PS4. So that's going to be next.
I actually need to replay that game because I kind of forgot about it, and I don't want to jump into 2 until I get through 1, because right now I'm trying to get through Catherine, which, Jaron, I love me some Catherine, man. That game is
Oh.
awesome.
A lot of men do.
But I suck at the puzzle. Dude, I had to bump it down to easy because normal was just kicking my ass. And I was like, no, I can't do this. I got to have a good time. I got to have a good time with this game. Like, I got to make tough decision with Catherine I want to be with. But I can't do that if I can't pass these puzzles.
No shame.
You know what I mean?
shame.
But
Yeah,
I'll tell
no
you,
shame in it.
I'll tell you what, though. They should make a series out of this, not just Catherine, but the idea of how they're trying to set up Catherine. You know, it almost feels like it's one of those late night, like Twilight Zones kind of feel. You know, here's a story about this person that can't decide with a horrible faith coming behind them. Like, they should do a series like that. And so, but Atlas should do it. I think that would be amazing. Amazing, Jaron.
Yeah. Okay. I get it. You know, it's no Star Fox, but yeah.
We're gonna do this again. We're gonna get back in the R-Wing and discuss this.
No, that's okay. It's okay.
Nick, are you a Star Fox fan?
I haven't played since I guess it was at the 64.
Oh,
I played that one.
Isn't
That was a
that
good
convenient?
Yeah, I mean, like I remember, like was it the frog guy that's like?
Yeah. Is it Slippy? Yeah, Slippy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Slippy Toad.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was a
yeah.
cool game, though, man, it was like super advanced at the time.
Jaron here is trying to, support Star Fox because he believes that, it's a good series. I disagree. Don't think it's really that good of a series. The only thing we can remember is the Star Fox 64. But he's saying there's great ones.
Star Fox Assault was not that bad.
Mm.
And Star Fox Zero. Star Fox Zero is an acquired taste. If they re-released it on the Switch,
Acquired
it would
taste.
sell gangbusters.
Acquired taste means
those aren't good descriptions. Like not that bad and acquired taste. But,
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Beer's an acquired taste. Millions of people drink it every day.
I'll put it like this though. There's more choices of beer for you to try and like. Star Fox is not a lot. There's not a lot. Zero let me down. And Zero supposed to be like, the diet, like 0-calorie beer of Star Fox, and it just did not do it, Jaron.
Hey, some people like Zima. What can I say?
Zima.
what system is Zero on? I'd be willing to try that.
It's on Wii U.
Wii U?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. It's not an easy system to find these days.
That's
either.
why it needs to come out for the Switch and fix all the things and just make it a normal Star Fox, and it'll probably surpass 64. Am I dreaming here? I'm dreaming. I'm sorry, Jaron.
Yeah.
Go on.
No. I'm off my soapbox.
What are you gaming, Jaron?
Yes, I have been playing Last of Us Part 2. I have been actually that's pretty much that and the game our guest has developed. I've been playing those two. I have not had time for Warzone, not have time for GTA 5 lately. So yeah, it's been pretty low key, I'm almost done with Last of Us Part 2 though.
Did it get dark? Like that's what my buddy was telling me. Last of Us Part 2 was a lot darker.
Oh yes. I would say ignore 80 to 90% of the moaning and griping you hear on the internet about the game. The story is very well made, beautiful, controls great. So far I'm loving it, but I'm like, oh my God, what the hell else is going to happen? What additional gut punch is going to happen? It's just like gut punch. You're getting worked over by Sugar Ray Leonard playing this game. So, yeah.
Is the violence gone up like to a 10 compared to the first one?
I'll put it this way. If you love dogs, you might not enjoy certain sections of this game.
Do you have to hug your dog every time you kill one then?
When my dogs are laying on the couch with their head in my lap, I'm like, I am so sorry, but this is what happens. I give him a hug. It's like, I am so sorry. I will give you machete-proof armor. I'm sorry.
Well, you better hurry up, Jaron, because your favorite game's coming out in a week, I believe, and that's the Ghost of Tsushima, right?
Yeah, I want to get it day one. I think I'm gonna have to wait, man.
What? You were more hyped than Last of Us.
I know, but the backlog. We were talking about earlier. The backlog.
Dude, I know you got a backlog of games, but you skipped over a lot to get The Last of Us 2, and that should have been in the back.
Yeah. Well, I got to go back and finish Doom Eternal as well. I got a backlog. it's like I'm already cranking things down in difficulty.
Mr. Nick, do you have a backlog yourself of games? Do you have a lot in your on your plate?
I mean, Last of Us 1 is definitely. Oh, Final Fantasy 7 Remake is on there.
Okay.
Which is really cool. I got into that a little bit. So those are the two main ones.
Is Final Fantasy 7, would you say, is your favorite Final Fantasy? Or do you have a different game?
Like Final Fantasy, the Super Nintendo ones are my favorite.
All right. Hit that 6.
2 and 3.
Okay.
But after that, 7. Yeah, 7's cool.
Okay. All right. There's always that big debate, either 6 or 7. Those are like the big debate. And I wish 6 would get... Yeah. 6 deserves a remake, just like 7. It does deserve that. No, 6 don't get no love. You know?
It doesn't.
That's because everybody's giving it enough love. I mean, listen to you two. It's 6.
You got jokes. Before we go into first up, I do have a bit of news. I thought it was just funny to talk about real quick. So Crytek, the people that did Crysis 1, 2, 3, name a number, and then also Warface. So apparently a leak came out where we saw a video of like a trailer of the game, and it got crapped on by the community. And it was supposed to be released, I think, like this week or next week. And they announced they are delaying the game. So, because based on what people thought of the game. So, I'm kind of curious for you, Nick, as a developer. Is that kind of weird for developers to kind of pull the curtain back real fast and like delay something like that? Is that normal, or is that something like, no, that's not normal?
I mean, I feel like Crytek's like always had some sort of issues with their titles. I don't know what's up with that, but I mean, it's definitely not normal. You definitely don't want to show something unless you're like 100%, at least 99% is coming out or going to be released. But yeah, I didn't. What game was that?
It was going to be the remake of Crysis 1.
Oh.
Yeah. And you can look up on YouTube, there's a comparison of both videos, the old one and this one, and to be honest with you, there is not a huge difference. Like, I thought it was going to be a remake, not a remaster, which, like, the game is 10 years old. Like, go ahead and just remake it.
Oh, exactly, yeah. I mean, not to, like, crap on the game, but I don't think it was that good in the first place. Like,
I never played the first one. I never really played the first one.
Yeah, I played the third one. It's all right. I mean,
it's all right, man. It was just like up against like Halo and like all these other like legitimate, I mean, big games, and it was just all right.
There's a reason why there's like 6 or 7 Far Cry games versus just 3 Crysis games.
No, you're right, because I guess at the time, the Crysis story or thing is, back in the day, if your computer can run Crysis, you have a very powerful computer, right? It's like, can it run Crysis? Are we good? And this game is like, I don't feel like my console's going to break.
I feel like remaking is like a dangerous thing, I feel, like I think like just fans, good chance fans are let down, if you remake something. It's like, it's like not enough or it's just never going to meet the expectations.
Yeah, it's hard to make everybody happy, especially like the hardcore fans. They're the ones that like you got to kind of hope they like it more than like the casual fans. They're like, that looks cool, but hardcore is like, you didn't do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Warcraft or something was like the worst received.
Oh,
yeah. Was it Warcraft remake? Or was it Warcraft 3?
It was Warcraft 3. Yeah, they dropped some of the promises. They didn't even put things in it that they promised to put in it, and it smacked of cash grab, and a lot of people were angry about it.
I bet. All right, so let's get into Clever Games. Now, this is the studio that actually made this game, Blight Night, and when I went to your page. The one thing that stood out to me on your page is knowing the staff and how awesome it is that you guys have like your normal picture, and then if you like, if you like point your arrow on it, you get to see like behind the scenes of that person, right? So you over here, Mr. Organic, like in your picture, like eating a lot of organic like gummy bears and all this stuff. One developer was dressed like Dragon Ball Z Goku. Another person was like eating a bunch of candy. Someone was a Star Trek person. Like Jaron and I were talking about like, man, I want to do something for that. If I had a page, like someone highlight me and you get to see behind that. So what made y'all come up with that idea of like your profiles like that?
I don't know. It's a fun company, man. Like, yeah, I don't know who exactly thought about that. It's probably Matt, who's a CEO, but man, he's just a fun company. Like, we like to have fun, and I think it just represents pretty much what the company is about. Like, I mean, it's honestly like that. It's not just like a web page gimmick. Like, I mean, we're always like goofing around, just having a good time. So,
Yeah,
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 it's like
yeah. I
company.
like it. It looks like everybody actually has interests, and it's like okay, more than just uh, code artists.
For
So we
sure.
got guitarists. You know,
Hmm.
Oh,
Because
that's
it's
awesome, man.
yeah, because it says that you were established in 2010. Is that correct?
Yeah,
So
2010. Yeah.
okay, so when did you actually started working there?
See, I just, I guess, celebrated my third anniversary. So yeah, just
Okay,
a little over 3 years. Yeah.
okay, okay,
But I mean, the company's been relatively small, probably up until like 2 years ago, really it kind of taken off. Like, I think when I started working there, I mean, I'm going to be a little off, but I'm guessing about 6 or 7 people in the office. And I mean, none of us are in the office right now, but I think there's, somewhere 20, 30 people now. Like, we've grown a lot.
So,
wow.
Jaron, just to let you know, this company does mobile games, web apps, virtual reality, cloud
Mm.
computing, artificial intelligence. So,
Hey.
my question is for this one is the fact that like, is this your first game that you guys have created in the studio? And if not, what other games have y'all done?
This is our first, like, I would say, larger scale independent game.
Okay,
Like, we've done a lot of contract games. I guess, yeah, I guess it is our first, like studio game. We've predominantly done contract games, but
okay,
lots of mobile games. Um, yeah, I mean, we're starting to do more VR work, which is exciting.
yeah,
But yeah, it's our first game. We have another in the works, kind of
okay.
blueprints. But
So
yeah, we're
who's
excited.
so who's the one that started like shot the gun, saying like, "Hey, let's make a game." Who was the first one that kind of started that?
Matt, our CEO, he's a gamer for sure. Like, he's old school. He loves games, and like he's all about like going for it, which I mean that's why I love the company so much. So he's driving it.
Okay,
Brought me on board to help. So
okay.
appreciate that.
Yeah, because most studios that I know that do smaller games, they mostly focus on just the studio just doing that particular small game. Unlike this studio, that you guys do a lot more varieties, and then
Yeah,
you guys are now trying to get into kind of like the gaming business, correct?
this is true. We're
Yeah.
trying to make that kind of jump right now. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's a hard leap to make. Trying to bring that gaming industry to Oklahoma. Yeah, it's not easy, but we're
Oklahoma,
doing
yeah,
it.
you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's not a big demand, but yeah, it's exciting though. It's exciting, like trying to make it happen.
Okay.
Trying to,
I mean, do you have plans or I guess designs to I don't know maybe be the cornerstone for a new game development corridor in Oklahoma? More game developers and companies become
oh
because
yeah,
they hear about the cost of living, easy to start up a business.
yeah. That's the dream. That's the goal. Like, yeah, it is like ideally, yeah, it's a great place to be because it is the cost of living's low. Running a business is relatively gonna be in pretty much as cheap as it gets in the U.S. So it's like
Hmm.
it's exciting to bring that industry to Oklahoma for sure.
So I don't know because I don't really pay too much attention. Were there any other studios or anybody that was also like trying to go into gaming as a company here that you might know of?
I know of Goldfire Games. They
Okay.
do. I mean, I think that they're pretty successful, but they do mainly like web based games.
Okay.
I think they got a big like casino type game
I
that's
see.
popular.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but that's the only one that I really know about, other than our like little indie groups in the city.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's exciting. It's kind of cool that the smaller guys are kind of have space to be known.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's cool.
So when you decided to join this company, first off, how did you find out about it? And second, based on your background, did you always wanted to go into gaming, or this is kind of something that fell in your lap?
No, I've always wanted to go into gaming. Like,
Okay.
yeah, I was talking to my mom the other day, and she reminded me, like, when I was like 7 years old, I used to like pull out the Nintendo Powers and like draw little sketches of like games, and I thought they were like really descriptive as like probably like stick figures and like little weapons. But then I actually found like the address for Capcom and Konami, and I was like mailing them like my pictures and stuff, and I was like 7 or 8 years old.
You are not the only one.
That is awesome. Yeah.
You are not the only
like
one.
I expected them to like understand what the game was.
I did that for Working Designs back in the early 90s. Yeah, oh, man.
I would have killed to be in one of those magazines, like the article, just like with like, oh, it got one of my letters on there. That's awesome. Yeah.
Did any of them ever write you back?
No.
It was like, I mean, maybe if it was like in the day of like email, I'm sure they would have dropped a response, but it was like the post days,
I know, it's weird, right?
Stamps and like writing and lots of work. But
Yeah. So how did you run into this company?
Yeah, it was total chance. It was like I was actually just hanging out at a local comic book store, and I was talking to my buddy like who owns it, and he just told me that like some dude came in the other day talking about like needing game developers, and I was like, hey man, I make games. So like,
I love the way you said that. Hey, I make games.
Yeah, I mean, it was total chance, and like I expected to have like to move because I thought I was just going to be in town temporarily, like because I had just come from Phoenix, and yeah, I thought it was just going to be super temporary. I was going to like probably move to Austin, or like even though I wouldn't want to, maybe Dallas, but to get a gaming job. But like, yeah, it worked out, and it was awesome. He hooked me up with the guy that came into the store, which happened to be Matt Williamson, who runs Clever. Yeah, it worked out. It was a good deal. Total chance.
And the rest was history.
Yeah, the rest is history.
That's what's up. Jaron, do you have any other questions before we take a short break?
No, that's no. I'm ready to take a break, and then we're going to jump into the meat.
Yes. So when we get back, we'll get right into the main game. That is Blight Night. We'll be right back.
Yes.
Hey, this is the network creator Jeremy Evans, and I want to say thank you for listening to this episode of the show as part of the In-Game Boss program. And if you enjoy this, then you should definitely check out all our other great content we have on this network. Remember, you can always follow, subscribe, leave a comment, or concerns because we would love to hear your thoughts. And lastly, enjoy the rest of the show. And welcome back. I am Jeremy. This is Jaron. And this is our special guest, Nick, here to talk about Blight Night, a game on the mobile app that you can play on Google Play and the App Store. As of right now, I believe it's $2.99 to play it right now. Correct?
Yes, $2.99.
Yeah, and what can I say about this game, Jaron? It's basically what happens like a 1980s flick happens to a town of what's the name of the town? Good Springs, I believe, is called.
Golden Springs, Texas.
There it is. And when I looked at the trailer, it's automatically the 1980s, like, slasher film, because even the tape looks like it's about to, like, break with the old lines and everything like that, the whole clips switch and everything. And, you're seeing this town ablaze with a lot of, like, what we think is dead bodies, and a man that woke up with no injuries whatsoever, trying to figure out what's going on in this town and whatnot. But Nick, tell everybody a little bit more about what is Blight Night.
Well, first of all, we love the '80s, so definitely had to.
I'm
had
an
to throw
80s
that
person
in
too.
there. Yeah, but so it's. I mean, essentially, it's. I mean, I read some reviews and someone said twin stick Resident Evil, which I'm like, hell yeah, that's a compliment to me because I love Resident Evils, you know. But yeah, like definitely drew a lot of inspiration from Resident Evil, you know, Silent Hill. So I would say, you know, it's a survival horror, but more of an adventure, you know. It's not strictly just, you know, be scared or just survive. It's about exploring, you know, finding upgrades, you know, figuring out what's happening in the town.
You can defend yourself.
Yeah, you can defend yourself. So I don't know. I would say half survival horror, but half adventure.
Because you mentioned before our recording that one of the features that was, I guess, talked about was a walkie-talkie in the game, where you are radioed kind of like more of what to remind you what your objective is, or just a reminder of like fun tips that are going on. But you were talking about that you didn't want that in there at first.
No, man. Like when I was really designing the game, like and being from the NES roots, like I like that punishing, like little to no tutorial, like figuring it out. But you know, like slowly, I'm like, all right, maybe we need to help the user a little bit, you know. Like, so yeah, the walkie-talkie's in there. You talk to the pawn shop owner, which is like your kind of like confidant, your helper. He helps you with upgrades. Yeah, so you can hit him up on the walkie-talkie, and he'll tell you a little objective, a little hint here and there, you know.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Okay. Kind of reminds me of Dead Rising. You know, when the Otis would call you up on the walkie-talkie.
Yeah. Kind of like that.
Yeah, because I noticed that in the game itself, that you start out with the shopkeeper telling you what to do, but the more you explore, the more stuff that is kind of telling you this is not important right now, but it is important later on, because you keep walking past it over and over again, from trying to even get like light. And I also noticed in the game, like there's certain items that you see, but you can't get them because it's too dark and you can't see exactly, you know, what it is you're trying to grab. So just out of curiosity, what made you come to that decision of doing that kind of idea where like you need light in order to kind of, you know, grab and learn more information?
Yeah, definitely use the idea of light and dark, you know, as a big theme in the game. So, yeah, certain areas are barely visible. You know, we have to make it a little more visible than it honestly is, you know, just so you can actually see where you're going. But yeah, it's like I think we took a lot from like, you know, like I think Zelda's and of, you know, you pass by important things, you know it's going to come into play later.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just like, you know, sparking that little thing in the user's head where he needs to come back. Right. Play around, come back.
Trial and error.
Yeah. And we really wanted to like create this world that you're going to have to re-explore, you know, like come back, remember where things are, you know, like, I don't know.
Because I also noticed too that like when I died, I would go back to basically the last thing I have done. So say like, after each mission that you do is an auto save, basically. Yeah. And so you go back to the way it was. My question for you, trying to make a hard game, was that a decision you still wanted to do, or was that more like if you die and you did not like save yours like by yourself, like manually, you go back to the very beginning? Was that something you wanted to do also?
I mean, in the conceiving the game, like that came to I did have that idea originally, like of like dying and maintaining your inventory.
Okay.
But then, you know, like slowly I was like, all right, maybe that could be too frustrating. So So like, yeah, there's checkpoints. So yeah, it'll auto save you at checkpoints, or you can manual save.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's
So
that option.
it almost sounds to me like you were thinking about hazing some of the newer gamers because
Oh
we
man,
all came from some of the 80s and 90s, the old school. It was
right.
hard was hard,
I
and you
like
had
it. I like
maybe a
Mm.
password system. But I
it.
guess
Yeah,
you're not wanting to
system.
haze them. You're not wanting to haze people too much.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I had to come to some like point in time where I'm like, might be a little too much, for users these days, especially.
So let's
Just
roll
'cause-
back for a minute and talk about actually how did this game get created and whose idea was it and who's the one that kind of like execute like, okay, let's do it full throttle. So how did that get all started?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a story for sure. Like the game, actually, like I came up with when I was working in Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, it was about 2010, so
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago. Like I was working for a game studio called Good Noggin Games, and we predominantly did contract games for bigger studios who didn't have time to make games, and they'd pass them to us, and we'd make them. So I don't know, I was lacking like some of that creative freedom, so I was just constantly making games in my spare time, and I just prototyped Blight Night, and it like felt really fun. So I saved up enough money to just like work on it for a few years, and just decided to do it.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, and then I mean, getting into it, I was young, like ambitious, over ambitious. I thought 2 years would be enough, and definitely wasn't. So I mean, it's been a voyage. Yeah.
It sounds like that you were just so excited, like I just want to get this out to the world. Like I just want, it's just like as fast as possible, but at the same time, I want this game to be great.
Yeah, and I want it to be great. Like, so like at the time, that's when the iPhones first came out, or it was the
Oh
iPhone
wow,
3.
you're right. Oh wow.
iPhone 3, and I
wow.
played it, and I played the iPhone, and I was like, holy crap, man. Like, just to see that you can make like full-blown 3D games on a phone, like that was so amazing to me. So I was just like obsessed with like, oh man, I got to make something great for this. And all there was at the time was like, like really, I guess, like kiddish games. I think Angry Birds was it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there just felt like there was nothing for the hardcore gamer, and I was like just set on making something that I would want to play. So that's kind of where it all came from.
So clever. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, you're good. Yeah. So basically, that's it, man. Like, yeah, I just quit my job to work on it.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I had to get jobs over the years, so it's been a lot of like part-time work, and it's at some periods it's been more full-time work, some periods it's been more part-time.
Well, it's funny that you said that you had to work different jobs and stuff. Has Kickstarter ever came into the mind at one point?
It did, but much later, and at that point it was so far into development.
Okay.
But it did. Like, I don't know when Kickstarter started, but I don't feel like there was anything like that
Okay.
when I was working on it. So
Okay.
I did a lot of freelance work at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I worked the door at a bar, and that was fun.
Oh, a bouncer or just a doorman?
I was a doorman / had to bounce a few people out in my day, but
Uh-oh.
well, yeah, it was fun. I got to listen to a bunch of like free live music. That's cool.
And just for because I'm weird like that. Kickstarter did start 11 years ago.
Okay.
Wow. See, I wouldn't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it would have helped a lot. Yeah, I was roughing it. Like, I just wanted to make it happen, man. Like,
So was it pretty smooth sailing to convince clever games to kind of greenlit this game, or did that take some convincing?
It really wasn't. Like, it was awesome, actually. Like, I had it on the far back burner, like and I think we had finished probably, I don't know, roughly maybe like 6 small games together. And Matt, my boss, was like, "Hey, man, well, why don't we just finish that game that you're working on?" I was like, "All right, hell yeah, man." So like, yeah, just like a bunch of great people at Clever. Like I got like awesome artists, like programmers, like to help. Yeah, and we got it. So it became our game, and it's just like gotten so much more awesome, for sure.
All right.
Nice. The passion was made real.
All right.
Yeah, passion and real.
Jaron, do you have any other questions before I hit the fun questions?
No. I mean, yeah, it kind of covered it. I'm kind of eager to get into the fun stuff. I want my dessert.
All right. All right. So let's get in some fun interview questions about the game. First off, Nick, you quoted, "Creating this game definitely forces me to explore the darkness part of my psyche." Can you please go into that quote of like about what that means when you were doing this game?
I don't know, man. Like it's, working on a horror game. Like, I mean, it's fairly dark, wouldn't you say? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you work on that type of game for more than 8 years, like, I mean, I'll admit it changes you a little bit, man. Like constantly like thinking about how to scare someone, you know?
Did you always kind of picture yourself as that character when you were creating the game? Like, how would I do in this world or whatnot?
Yeah, constantly.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of like imagining yourself in the same circumstances. Like, I don't know. I'm a big horror buff, you know, like lots of horror movie watching.
And let's go right into that. That's where I was going to get into. So
You fell into his trap card.
So that answers my first question. What made you decide to do this theme, a 1980s horror style? And that's because of the movies. What are your movies, your horror movies, that you enjoyed that helped you inspire and influence Blight Night?
Well, I mean, zombie movie wise, I mean, I think 28 Days Later is it. I like the old like Japanese horror movies and stuff.
Okay.
Kind of like slow burning, creepy style. I like that.
All right.
What about the dead movies like Night of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead? Any of those?
Yeah, I like
help?
those. I grew up with that. I think that's what kind of like started it all. Like going to the local VHS store and like looking at the backs of all the movies when I was like younger, and like just like going to my friends' houses and have sleepovers with those old like Friday the 13th and like
Oh
yeah.
like those types of movies. Like, I mean, they've definitely grown on me. Like I don't know. It's like part of me thinks they're like thoughtless and like kind of like not trash, but in that realm, and part of me thinks they're genius. I don't know. It's like, but I love that. I love that style for sure.
I love the older movies of horror because just it's more of the practical effects. So you know, like when these things happen, you know, like it's raw. Like they made this set and everything. Like it. I know that blade ain't real, but they put some thought into this, the CG, man.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool, man. Just they put a lot of attention and love into them, and some of them are awesome because it's so like bad.
Right. Jaron, what horror movies do you like in the 80s or in general?
Oh man, the 80s. I mean, I'm always going to be a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 3. I mean, I will watch all of them if they're on, but 1 and 3 are the ones I will, purposefully seek out.
Okay.
I enjoyed, the first few Friday the 13th movies before they got a little weird. I may watch the others just to laugh at them. And
Okay.
I don't know if you ever seen the movie Sleepaway Camp.
No, I always wanted to, but I didn't.
Oh man, yeah. Check out Sleepaway Camp 1 and 2, but especially 1. It's it's your cheesy horror. The kids are stupid. They die in stupid ways. They have it coming. Apparently nobody knows how to throw a punch. But it's still fun to watch. Like those are the movies you curl up on the couch with, with like the friends or your honey, and you just watch and just kind of laugh and make fun and just enjoy it. So those are my kind of 80s horror movies. It was the age of the slasher. The one that defies it all though is Night of the Demons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember the original poster. I don't think I saw that though.
Oh man, yeah. If you ever get the chance, the original, I think it's 1987, 88, Night of the Demons. It was, Linnea Quigley, who's a B-movie scream queen. Yeah, don't get me started. I love that movie, and it was a good movie.
So what's your favorite?
Oh, favorite? 80s. Oh, it's going to be Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Okay.
Is that the Dream Warriors?
Yep, the Dream Warriors. Yeah. Cade and all that was like, Dream Warriors. I back in the day I was like, oh man, the black guy lives, and I just threw my hands up in the air like it was a
groundbreaking
field goal. Yeah, it was a field goal that was good. I just threw it. It's like, he's good.
A W. It's awesome.
And then they killed him in the next one.
I think mine is Night of the Living Dead, because just the fact, spoiler, I mean, everybody's dead. That's hilarious, sort of. Like, you think, like, at the end, like, oh, hey, he's going to live. And, of course, like, piggyback on Jaron, like, oh, the black guy's going to live. The guy that played on the show, like, Sparks and Sparks, or he played the gay guy off of Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. Like, that actor with his Jerry curl with that so glow. And, he died, too. Like, everybody died. But that movie was just so funny. It was just a funny, fun zombie movie. Let's have a day out in a cemetery.
Yeah.
Why not?
80s horror is all about fun. I feel, and like watching with friends is another cool thing.
Mm-hmm. So any of those movies in general, do you think that you took and put it into this game? Like kind of ideas like, from like the broken cars to the zombies on the ground to like, was there any other movies or anything that influenced that?
I mean,
because I know you did 28 Days Later, the whole waking up and all hell broke loose. Because I like that. I like that part.
Yeah, I love that movie for sure. But I mean, as far as the 80s movies, I mean, not anyone in particular. Like, it was just like brainstorming. Like, what were the 80s about? Like, like, I mean, I definitely like visited all sorts of movies, like just trying to get that feeling down, visually, and just like the sounds and the storytelling, like the colors, everything. Like lots of like looking at the old movie posters and like in the VHS boxes. It's like a lost art form, like the old packaging.
The video store, visiting the video store and seeing it.
They had some awesome posters, dude. I love looking through those old 80s horror posters.
Do you have a lot of horror movies in your collection in general?
Personally, I don't.
Okay.
Really, but
yeah. I mean, he's got Netflix.
That's what I was gonna say. Like,
when I'm old, like have that little like man cave. When I'm older, I'll probably get a bunch of movie posters.
So, before the recording, I was talking to Jaron here about your character, Sonny. I believe is Burstow. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Burstow.
Yeah. I was wondering, and say I could be 100% wrong. By any chance, was he inspired or influenced by Bruce Campbell's character from The Evil Dead, Ash Williams?
I mean, maybe subconsciously. Like, it really wasn't.
Okay.
Supposed to be anyone in particular. Like,
minus the chainsaw hand.
Subconsciously.
Okay.
I think maybe a little bit of that. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, one of my buddies was trying to say that it was like secretly me, which is not. He's like, I wonder who that is. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's not really. I mean, he's supposed to be somewhat generic. I don't know. I feel like the 80s as a whole, was like somewhat generic.
Yeah,
and that's like part of the appeal,
Yeah. Okay. Just like basically playing a nobody that's just trying to figure out what's all going on. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I mean, definitely want him to be interesting, but definitely the main storyteller is intended to be the environment, you know, like.
And I guess that's why, like, that's why your protagonist doesn't really have any dialogue of his own.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Zero dialogue. Like
Okay.
a lot of inferred dialogue, you know, like people will talk back and you kind of like, you know what he's saying.
Yeah.
But I don't like to get bought. I mean, it's personal, like kind of game design choice. I don't like to get bogged down with dialogue.
Okay.
And, you know, like I love it when a game can tell its story through the environment, you know.
I can understand that.
You know, the broken down cars, you know,
No info dump, just
right,
let you
the
play.
broken glass and the guy laying in the corner, you know, like let that tell the story.
So what are you mentioned before, like with your back history of gaming, Resident Evil brought up. So I was wondering what other games that you personally think help you not only influence the game, but you learn some elements that you use in your game.
Yeah, well, Resident Evil's huge. Like, I would say Silent Hill was a big one of like, you know, Silent Hill I think was like the master of like not showing everything or like forcing some like crap camera angle, you know, so so you have to think about what's not being shown, you know. It's like that whole like pretense and like not, I don't know what's going on in the player's like subconscious, you know. I feel like that's where true like tension comes from, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Silent Hill did a great job with that.
Yeah. The mind conjures up the worst things.
Right.
Based on sound, actually. Like, the sound is really its own character, weirdly enough. Yeah.
Yeah, that was huge. Like, sound is so big. Like, you don't think about it in a game, how important it is. But, yeah, sound is, like, everything.
Okay.
Like, in a game, if you don't have good sound, it's just like you can't establish a setting, you know?
Yeah. So there goes the immersion.
I was gonna say that's probably one of the major that's probably one of the major things that you definitely study from the video games is really listening to the sound and how to really make you immerse into Blight Night.
Yeah, it's something I guess you don't think about as much, but it's definitely a huge factor. Is that sound and just kind of like just keeping the player like a little bit at unease, you know, like little tension. I think a lot of that, you know, I don't know. Did you play the old Silent Hills? Like
I played two.
I played the first one. Those damn babies.
Yeah, the damn babies for sure. But you know, you just have like when something's about to go down, you get that static. You know, just some slight radio static, and I thought that was like the most unnerving thing about the whole game is the sound.
No, agreed.
And the babies.
Yes, I was about to say it's a tie.
Try between the sound and the babies. For sure.
Jaron, what questions you got?
I was going to say, you know, why? Well, no, not necessarily why, but for Blight Night, would it be possible, considering how much love and work went into this? Would you ever consider doing a sequel or a console port or physical release?
I would love to. Like, I'd love to do a sequel. I mean, I think a console release would be amazing too. So that's kind of like, if it could be profitable, that will happen. But
I can see this on Switch easily. I can see this on the Switch easily.
Yeah, I've heard people say that. There's like that kind of that lack of genre market on the Switch. So I'd love to bring it there. I think there's a very, very good chance. I mean, it will be on Steam. I've done a lot of the controller porting already.
Okay.
And it feels amazing. Like it feels like I love it on a controller. Like how it should be played for sure. So I really want to make that happen just because I feel like it adds a lot to have that tactile controller, you know, like feel the analog sticks and everything. So there's a really good chance that Steam is going to happen, but I love a sequel too. So we just kind of have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of the collector in me that was asking about a physical release. I was like, hey,
I love it. I mean, I love it. Like I definitely like, man, like a VHS packaging.
Oh yeah, I bet you'd have fun with that, like movie poster, 80s style movie poster.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know, like, yeah, my Clever would have a blast with that. Just the packaging, man. Like, it's so many people that Clever love the 80s.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Especially like if you did make a special edition and it's like an old VHS tape kind of like case.
Oh man, hell
yeah. Oh yeah. Or even the clamshell. Yeah.
Oh dude, I want to be able to take the game out of the bottom of the tape. You know what I mean? Like out of the cover. Yeah. Let's do that.
Yes.
Let's do that.
And like a booklet. I love booklets. Remember, like, I don't know, like that was part of it for me when I was younger, buying games and like breaking out that book and seeing
the art.
Yeah, that was the deal with my parents. It was like, hey, you can't play this game unless you can read the instruction manual. If I say this, if you want your kids to learn to read, put that in Pete. It's like I'll be a reading somebody. I love the instruction. I think they stopped putting them in everything since PS2.
Man, I know it's a lost art form for sure. It's like digging to the bottom of the cereal box and pulling out that toy.
Exactly.
Pulling out that book.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's now time to wrap it up. Unless Jaron, you have any more questions? Do you have any more questions?
Well, I would say, if you could get stuck in any particular horror game, I mean, why would you want to get stuck in a horror game? But you have no choice. You have to be stuck into a horror game. Which horror game would it be and why? You can't say Blight Night just because you know where everything is.
I know how to get out. I know the cheat codes.
Yeah, no Tron here.
No Tron here. Nice.
I don't know. Isn't Catherine's kind of a horror game, right?
Kinda.
I mean, if you consider relationship drama horror.
I
never
played it. I'm trying to like find some secret.
Oh, well, we asked some tough questions. We asked hard questions.
You go first, man. Like
Dead Space for me.
Oh, Dead Space?
Yeah, dude, with the suit. Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh yeah,
all right.
all the way. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to say Dead Rising. I'd have way too much fun.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Dead Rising's like the fun horror.
Yeah, there's just stick hats on people, zombie to push them over, lawnmower, anything is a weapon. I'd never be defenseless.
Right,
man. That's just you guys killed it on those answers. I mean, I'll just say Resident Evil just because I love that game, but I see nothing good about being in it.
You don't want to be in Silent Hill? You don't want to be in Silent Hill?
And just because that would be the worst.
Worst place to get trapped.
Silent Hill, I think, is the worst.
Dude, Jaron, the second worst one would be Fatal Frame. I mean, why do I want to walk around taking pictures? I don't want to do that.
Oh yeah,
I don't do that.
Fatal Frame was a creepy game.
Oh yeah, you have to confront your fears to take a picture.
I think someone needs to recreate that in VR.
Oh man, that would sell like gangbusters.
Man,
yeah,
because it is a great game, and like I don't know, maybe they've made sequels and but I haven't really.
Yeah, there's been like 2 or 3.
The last one was on the Wii U.
Yes.
Yeah, which it would be a perfect home for Switch because if you can like kind of move around the house and you can take pictures or something like that, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, with new school immersion, like AR, VR, Fatal Frame would kill
That would be beautiful, especially the graphics and everything. Throw that Oculus or Rift or PS.
Too much, kind of we got a couple VR rigs at work, and like they're awesome, they're fun, but man, like those horror games, it's too much for me, man. Like I love horror, but man, horror in VR, like you can't look away.
Yeah. I haven't been able to really dig into VR. I don't have VR at home. I've only played it at friends' houses.
Man, both you guys need to come up to the office and play sometime.
Oh, I'll do that.
Yeah,
down for that.
I'll do that. You mean OKC?
Sure, I want to see how you guys handle it, man.
Yeah, you mean Oklahoma City, not Arizona, because that's a bit.
Oklahoma City. For sure.
Yeah, no, I'd be down for that. I'd be down for that
cool.
anytime.
We'll set that up.
Okay, that's what's up. Well, with that, I want to thank all our listeners for tuning in for our awesome interview with Nick here talking about Blight Night that you can get it on Google Play and the App Store for $2.99. But before we wrap everything up, Nick, I want you to do some plugins of where they can find you and your games on the web.
Yeah, I mean, you can find me at clever.com. That's CLVYR.com. And I mean, you'll see Clever. I mean, we do all sorts of stuff, but we're constantly working on something VR/game. Right now we're working on an NBA license game. It's kind of,
okay.
I don't know. Yeah, so it'll be cool. I don't know how much I can talk about right now, but other than it should be cool. And then something, that we're dreaming up, in the works will be after that. So something always fun. Yeah, as far as the game, man, like lots of love put into it. We'd all love you to try it out. Like, I think it's awesome. Like, a lot like a hardcore mobile experience.
Oh,
we
yeah.
love horror movies, horror games. Like, say no question, play it. But
well, from being from Oklahoma, one of the things that's very important is support your local people.
Oh, yeah.
So support them. Blight Night has a Facebook page, so definitely check that out and like it and follow them there. Also on Twitter, you can follow them there also. Give me your comments. Give me your comments, your reviews. Give me your thoughts about it and everything like that. Remember that this is part of the In-Game Boss Program and Network Game and other variety shows, so check out all our great shows on the network and whatnot. This episode, I'll be definitely promoting it. I'll be putting a trailer out for people to know. I might even change my banner just to kind of help support it a little bit more. And definitely check out the trailer on YouTube. Definitely do that so you can kind of get more of a look for that. I'll definitely be posting that, just showing my support because Oklahoma needs to grow. People need to know more about the gaming world here instead of just staying individual. Like, come out and support.
Represent.
Our website is it Blight Night Game, I think. Hold on.
Yes.
I'm still wrapped up in the development. I don't know all these extra things going on. Oh yeah, it's blightnightgame.com.
Yeah. So
cool.
Yeah, definitely check there. Remember, if you want to talk to me personally, I am on Twitter as RetroAmp07. Jaron?
I am at the Grumpy Bear 84. I believe Blight Night Game and I are following each other. Just a little bit there.
That's what's up. And then, Nick, do you have a personal Twitter?
I don't. I'm old school, man. I'm so behind. I'm like a grandpa. Like, I don't.
Well, you look very low stress, so that's probably why.
Well, I guess once you get the game out, you can just relax for a little bit, right?
Right.
Yeah.
A little bit, but go start working on that next awesome thing.
Yeah. So, like I said, go to their page and whatnot that I mentioned. Show your support. Remember that if you are on YouTube, definitely check out our network there and check out our two shows, the Cabinet Sessions and the Buddy Up Gaming, where Jaron and I play arcade games on the Cabinet Session while me and my buddy Jerome play a bunch of co-op games. And we're just trying to get people on there. Subscribe and follow there. And then, of course, on our listening sites, Podbean and Apple Podcasts and CastBox and Podcast Republic, give us a follow there. Support us there and whatnot. We are the most well-known Oklahoma. We just want to get bigger, and also bring more people in. If you have a gaming podcast, let me know. I would love to connect with you too. But with that, thank you so much. Nick, thank you so much for taking the time to honor us, your presence.
It was awesome. For sure.
We would love to have you come back on the show again soon.
Especially during this whole quarantine time. It's nice talking to some cool guys.
Yes, we'll definitely have you back on. Maybe not just talk about games, but not talk about your game, but just talk about just fun video games and fun topics. Because that's our goal of our show. Our show is to just have fun topics, not only to challenge you, but also challenge us on great fun topics. Go listen to our episode where we talk about our Perfect 10 episode. Go listen to when we talked about the Retro Society that is in Oklahoma to give them fun questions. Listen to our hot games in June, games that we are excited in June that have been announced. Cyberpunk is a good game. So definitely check out all that stuff. And with that, thank you so much. Stage clear. Let's go.
New high score.